Hello, I'm Beck. Welcome to my channel. Today I will be drawing a D&D character based on the roll of the dice.
Let's bring out the Tower of Destiny!
So we got another Genasi this week, and I decided I would just make it a water Genasi. I thought that went well with Blood Hunter. I don't really know why, it just clicked in my brain. Now, a water Genasi descends from Marids, which are aquatic genies from the elemental plane of water. Water Genasi are perfectly suited to life underwater and carry the power of waves inside themselves. It's very dramatically put, but yeah, pretty cool. They can breathe air and water. They have resistance to acid damage, and I kind of disregarded some of what it said on the race details page in D&D Beyond because it said their skin is often shades of blue or green and sometimes a blend of the two. You'll see later on I decided to go with a different color palette entirely. I was thinking more along the lines of brightly colored fish are considered, poisonous to their predators, and I didn't want to use the exact same color palette as last week because we did lots of blues and greens for our air Genasi, so just keep that in mind when I go further along. I am aware that these are not the colours that are standard for a water Genasi. I made my fish person character nice and beefy to suit the Barbarian class. So in addition to Barbarians being driven by rage, which is fighting with ferocity, you get advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws, and when you make a melee attack using strength, you gain bonus to the damage roll, and I think that increases as you gain level, so it's not just a standard damage bonus roll, so I'm not sure what it is. Anyway, you also have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage, so nice and beefy, nice and strong. There's also unarmored defense, so when you're not wearing armor, your armor class is pretty good. So it's like, let's see, armor class equals 10 plus your dexterity modifier plus your constitution modifier. And you can still use a shield to gain when you're using this benefit. So like, if you're not wearing armor, you get this. You don't get it if you are wearing armor, but you can have a shield. Great. Barbarians have a lot of cool stuff that they can do as well. Reckless attack, danger sense. You can Google it. It's pretty cool. They're the tanks of the group. Great at fighting, great at throwing themselves into a highly damaging situation and coming out okay. Now that goes really well with Blood Hunter. Blood Hunters hone the rights of hemocraft into unique combat techniques, forfeiting a portion of their own health to call blood curses down upon their enemies or summon the elements to aid their strikes. So basically, Blood Hunters use blood magic and often will hurt themselves in order to have their spells be more effective. I think that goes really well with a barbarian who's happy to run headfirst into danger. Not afraid to get hurt, not afraid to sacrifice their own well-being to get the job done. So I felt like Blood Hunter went really well here. And I guess I kind of, when I heard Blood Hunter, I had the vision in my head of like the way blood sort of disperses when it's underwater. Kind of gross, but kind of cool. So that's where we're going with this one. I was going for the look where the blood is coming out of the hand that's holding the anchor, and of course the anchor is the Barbarian's maul. A little bit of a reskin on those stats, but that was the idea behind the weapon there. Now I'm using a goldfish to get a reference for the brightly colored scales. The intention behind it was to do that bright colors ward off predators because it means they're poisonous thing, but I'm pretty sure that obviously goldfish aren't poisonous. I actually don't know. I assume they're not, but I wanted to use the bright colors to be in contrast with last week's Air Genasi, who was all blue. And I think this also goes hand in hand with a Barbarian Blood Hunter, where just a quick glance at them tells you this is dangerous. This is not someone you want to mess with. They're not afraid to stand out. They don't need to be stealthy because when you're good at fighting, why do you need to hide? Mostly people hide from them. So that is where I was coming out with these colors. I didn't really know what colors I wanted them to be wearing. I didn't want it to look like their clothes were just their skin, but at the same time I wanted it to look like the clothes were tight enough that they could easily be swimming or whatever. So I play around with those colors a little bit, and I think I landed on a good one in the end, but we'll get to that eventually. I am doing sort of color picks straight from the fish itself, which is kind of the whole point of adding it to the page, so that I can look at it and take the image, take the colors from the image and tweak them a little bit and try and get the same effect going. Now I'm messing around with what I wanted their hair to be like. Couldn't really decide if I wanted this to be male or female, and so I decided it's a they. Might give them the name Goldie. Why not? Terrifying, I know. Just like goldfish. If you're not afraid of goldfish, you don't know what you're doing with your life. Just sort yourself out, man. Goldie's gonna have a cool mohawk, just like the goldfish in the picture. That is definitely what it is. It's not a fin, it's a mohawk. Suddenly goldfish just look a lot cooler to you now, don't they? You're welcome. You can see on the abilities table that wisdom is their lowest score. I don't think this is a particularly wise character. And call me crazy, but I don't think being happy to bleed yourself to get magic is particularly wise. I'm sure there are plenty of very wise blood hunters out there, but in a world where you can get pretty strong magic just by like reading about it, if you're a wizard, and making deals with more powerful beings, it does seem like kind of a dumb move to get into self-sacrificing magics. But then again, it might be better than making a deal with a demon, so each to their own, I guess. I think having +2 to charisma also makes a lot of sense because while this might not be the most charming character, charisma also applies to your stats of intimidation and ability to sway a person's mind or opinion by being scary. And I think this is a pretty scary character. You certainly wouldn't want to disagree with them, so their charisma is appropriately high for that purpose. Now, in terms of constitution, it's not super surprising that a barbarian blood hunter has pretty high constitution. They're used to hurting themselves and recovering from it pretty effectively, so they can certainly take a hit and they can recover very quickly if they get cut or hurt in any other way. So nice constitution, yeah. Intelligence, that's a little bit of a weird one for this character, being +2. when the wisdom is -1. So I think this is the kind of intelligence where they're quite good at the factual knowledge of like where things are. They can read a map, certainly. They navigate the 7 seas or however many seas are in your particular D&D world, and have sort of an encyclopedic knowledge of where things are and how to get around and what certain treasures are worth and that sort of thing, that relies on intelligence but doesn't really apply any wisdom to the knowledge. It's just stuff that they know. And strength, unsurprising, is high, +2, and dexterity, +1. So not the highest, but certainly better than average and usable for what they're doing. They can... I always use pick a lock as an example, but it is the go-to for dexterity. They're good at dealing with fiddly things, like obviously being kind of sea aquatic related. They'd know how to tie a knot. They're probably pretty good on a ship. Dexterity, good, great, fantastic. Now, in terms of backstory, I think this character might have been like a pirate at some point, which is actually like mechanically there's backgrounds which are different to backstories. Backstory is just the thing that I make up. Backgrounds you can apply to your character, and it comes with different sort of skill proficiencies and tool proficiencies, and sometimes it has certain features that you can apply, like okay, there's one for pirate. No matter where you go, people are afraid of you due to your reputation. When you're in a settlement, you can get away with minor criminal offences, such as refusing to pay for food at a tavern or breaking down doors at a local shop, since most people will not report your activity to the authorities. Things like that, pretty cool. And I think that this character was a pirate, possibly the Genasi being the result of a pirate on a ship finding a genie lamp and it having a noble genie in it, and that somehow made a baby, and this is the baby all grown up. And they grew up on a pirate ship, plundering and fighting and just having a whale of a time, really. And somewhere along the way, they might have met up with some other blood hunters who taught them the way of blood magic. And they just really took to it, especially because they probably equate bleeding with glory and success. When you've had a really good fight, you shouldn't have no scratches on you. You should have a good, honest fight with bruising and bleeding. And I think that's the mentality that they got instilled into them growing up on a pirate vessel. And in terms of call to adventure, I feel like it's kind of already written itself. They just like adventuring and fumbling around the world, getting into fights. And I don't know if they even care whether they win or lose. I guess the blood hunter sacrifices would indicate that they do take things seriously enough that they would use blood magic if it was a serious fight and the stakes were something that really mattered to them. But most of the time I think they would just love to get into fights and feel alive, you know, just feeling alive through fights. And definitely something I can relate to. That's a lie, I don't relate to that at all. But yeah, I think this is Goldie, the Water Genasi Barbarian Blood Hunter. What do we all think of them? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell and all that jazz if you enjoy these videos. I enjoy making them. And yeah. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a nice week and see you next time. Bye!